evening and welcome to the Bryant Football Coaches Show, presented by Laura's Bar and Grill, live at Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield, Rhode Island. I am Tristan Hobbes, and I'm joined by head coach James Perry. Coach, it's another season of Bulldog football. Only 5 days away, the kickoff on Saturday against New Haven. Best time of the year, Coach.
Oh, it sure is. We're in the middle of a lot of practices that are leading towards this season, and when you get this close to it, everyone's got a little extra bounce in their step, so this is fun.
Well, we're sure excited to have Coach here every Monday night, 5 o'clock to 5:30 at Laura's Bar and Grill, located just about a mile down from the Bryant campus here in Smithfield. So if you're in town, come out and support the Bulldogs, and support Laura's Bar and Grill. If you can't, watch live on the Bryant Athletics Facebook page, as you probably are right now. But it's an exciting partnership with Laura's, and we're excited to be here. And we're super excited about the season, Coach. The Bulldogs coming off a 6-5 year. They won their last 4 games of 2017. And you said at times you could have predicted that because the way the team was practicing. How have you seen that transfer over into the winter workouts and then through spring ball?
Yeah, so it was really fun because last year being the first year, the kids were a great group. We had a terrific group of seniors. As the year went on, we kept getting better. We kept practicing better. So as a coach, that's really rewarding. So this offseason, I looked at it as a real challenge. Are we going to take another step, or do we have the same type of leadership? Do we have the same type of kids that are going to put in that same kind of hard work? And so far, so good. I mean, we had a terrific winter. We had a terrific spring. And this August, it's funny, sometimes we look back at where we were a year ago in August to where we are now in August, and it's like two different teams. I mean, the way we're practicing, the way we're, I believe, prepared for the beginning of the season is in a much better place.
We got a great crowd out here tonight at Laura's Bar and Grill, expecting a great crowd on Saturday at Burns Stadium. Coach, you're only in year 2, so we're going to continue throughout the year to make sure kind of people know what we're talking about when we say play fast or practice well or all those type of things, so people aren't left in the dust here. But last year you really spoke highly of the practice habits of a lot of your team and how important practice is to you. Just explain to us real quickly why that is the case for you.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna play more plays. So when you play fast, we're a no-huddle team, we're up-tempo team. On defense, we're an aggressive attacking team. So the net result is you get more plays. So for us, our fitness level has to be higher. Our fitness level coming into August training camp has to be higher than the typical team. The way we practice is very demanding. So our fitness level at this point in August is higher than your typical team. And we hope just to get in better and better shape each week. And, I think last year everyone got a little bit of taste. We played Merrimack in the first game of the year, and obviously we had 100 plays, and it was just kind of a different feel to how long those games can get when you run that many plays. So this year I think we're in a whole new place. We worked hard to get where we were a year ago, and now hopefully we took another step. And
then the other word or phrase we'll be saying a lot is play fast. I think a lot of people really got an idea of what that meant last year with the different type of the football that the Bulldogs played. And somebody asked me the other day, what does it mean? And I tried to simplify it for them, and I said, well, instead of snapping the ball with 5 on the play clock, we were snapping it with 20 seconds on the play clock, and there was no huddle, and we kind of moved the ball on the field. But it means so much more than that. Can you kind of dissect what that means a little bit to you and what fans can expect this year?
Yep. So we want our guys to be fast, and that's across the board. And we want our offensive linemen to be able to run. We want our tight ends and fullbacks and wide receivers, everybody to be able to occupy this huge playing surface. So for us, playing fast means just putting fast people on the field. And then secondly is we operate fast. So it kind of has a dual meaning. We want to put the ball in space to people who are fast, and then we want to, at the end of the play, attack the line of scrimmage operationally, snapping the next play fast as well. So kind of has a dual meaning. And now when you look at all 3 phases of the game, the shining example of playing fast in special teams is taking those kicks back for touchdowns, like we did last year. We put 2 in the end zone. On defense, getting those sacks the way that guys like Tom Costigan can play fast coming off the edge. So it materialized itself in a few different ways. We want those guys being able to run. So we're lucky. We got a bunch of guys who are doing that well right now.
And I'm sure you probably had an understanding that in year one there might be some slow play before the guys could actually get to the play fast that you wanted to. How did you handle that, and did you see the guys come along in that throughout the year?
Yeah, and even before that, I think a great thing about Bryant University and all its students, and in particular the football team, is that they just have great work ethic. So when we first got here, it was kind of written into your DNA that whatever challenge I put forward, they would try to meet. And in this case, it was getting in as good a fitness level as you could get. But the natural evolution is, you're built a certain way, especially the linemen. They're built a certain way for 12 years, and now all of a sudden we're asking them to do some different things. So there was a little transition, but the kids met the challenges very well, and we keep kind of putting a new bar out there each week, and this year we'll set another bar.
This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill. We're talking with head coach James Perry. The Bulldogs kicking off their 20th season of football on Saturday at Burns Stadium, 3 o'clock kickoff against New Haven. Coach, the 20th season of Bulldog football. It's no longer it's a known entity.
Yep.
It's Bulldog football, 20th season. It's a special time to be here at Bryant.
It sure is, and I think it's fun for me because I've gotten a chance to meet in a year and a half, gotten a chance to meet a lot of the people who paved the way for what is this incredible football program that we have right now. The alumni base is tremendous in that way, and there's a lot of people now. It's 20 years. You're graduating 25 guys a year. That's 500 Bryant football alums that are all across the country doing great things, and it's fun for me to tap into that, and I think there's only even greater heights that we can take it over the next 20 years.
And I think, at least for me, some of the most enjoyable things this is going to be my 8th year with the football program, but looking back at the 90s and the 2000s and seeing the evolution of the program and the success that it's had, it's really fun to kind of delve into what this program was built on and all the success that it had, and kind of maybe find things you never knew you knew.
Yeah, and for me, it's really important that our current players understand the history and understand some of the guys that have done that. And during August, I make a real effort to bring guys in to speak to the team and try to get a cross-reference of exactly what you said, some of the pioneers of this program in the late 90s, some of the great players that won championships for us in the late 2000s, and then more recently some of the recent grads who've been player of the year and things like that in this league. So it's fun to connect our current players with this rich tradition that we're developing.
All right, Coach, let's jump into 2018 Bryant football. It's hard to believe. You mentioned the year and a half you've been here. It seems like you've been here for so much longer, but it's only been 18 months maybe.
Right.
It's remarkable.
Imagine my wife. She's been married to me. It feels like an eternity.
But Coach, you had a spring camp when you first got here, but it was kind of you're thrown into it. You get through a whole season, you go 6-5, you win 4 straight games, and then finally you're able to have a full off season the way maybe you would like to go into it, planned, idea, let's get it done, ready for August. Do you feel that with this off season you got your guys as ready for August as you could have gotten them?
I do, and I think it's really, when you look back at last year, for me, I mean, in the moment you're just trying to win football games,
right?
But it's a credit to some of how the guys stuck with it last year. We're putting in a whole new defense. You're talking about all those guys on defense in the back end and the front end. Even if they've played a lot of football, it's a whole new defense. We're putting in a whole new offense, and we got a quarterback who a year ago came in August. Didn't even have a spring under his belt, and we're asking a lot of these guys. And it was fun that we transitioned and started to become a pretty good team at the end of last year. But what's even more exciting is now we're in a different place. Now you're talking about guys who've had the same defense and similar structure for 18 months. You're talking about an offense from the quarterback on down who've been around the way that we play for much longer. So the practices have reflected it. The type of August that we've had has reflected that the kids are a little more settled when it comes to that, and I'm really proud of them and how far we've come.
It's remarkable. Everybody you talk to, you do a great job of spreading your message, because everybody you talk to involved with the program is saying the same exact things, and that's so important for a team as large as everybody's on the same page. And I think that a lot of that probably comes from the senior leadership that your team has this year. You have a couple of fifth-year guys that are captains. You have 3 or 4 other fifth-year guys that are back to help this program. It must mean a lot for you to have that base of leadership for this team.
It's funny. I think no matter football is such a unique sport that way. You need that dispersed leadership. So for us, we have 4 terrific captains, and they're the first kind of line of defense and taking the message out there and making sure that the locker room has a certain, got 110 guys in there, right? But really what you need is then it's a trickle down from there. So while we have 4, captains, the other night I had this senior barbecue at my house. I had 30 guys at the house, 30. That means 30
that's
seniors.
That's a long senior day.
Yeah, that's a long. That's right. And those guys can help spread the message. And then actually, even with all that great senior leadership, there are times when we'll turn to guys like Rob Brown, who's a junior, and expect him to do the same thing and kind of disperse that message throughout the locker room. And for us, it's been an easy task, to be honest with you, to get those guys to accept that challenge. Once you empower them, they love it. So, heck, when you have 30 guys over your house for senior barbecue, you know that the message is going to be able to be put out there throughout the whole locker room.
And now you've been happy with August practice. What's been 3 things that that have stuck out to you that you think that you've enjoyed the most about from your team this August?
Well, I think, the first thing is it is funny. It was so hot at the beginning of training camp. Probably 3 of the hottest days you'll ever have as a football coach. And, these guys just ate it up. So it was like right out the gate, for us it means run tests, and it means, how we practice is very fast, and the guys just loved it. And then the other thing that was nice is we do a thing called Top Dog, which is kind of a fun in-house competition where we play ping pong, we play
grape toss.
Yeah, grape tosses, and we do, eventually we play knockout and basketball and stuff. Just
rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors, right? So just different ways to compete, and it was funny because that has evolved now into this super highly competitive thing, and they have fun with it, but it's just nice to see that competitive spirit so ingrained into our team throughout August. And then now I think as we transition from training camp, which is the grind of training camp, to New Haven week, it's fun to see guys have the maturity level to get right into game week. So last year, those 3 things to me, I don't know if we would have responded the same way. So I think we've in that way, that's why I'm so excited. It's like, wow, we're taking some good steps here. We're competing, and even in things like Top Dog. And now we understand the moment, which is getting into New Haven week, and we're transitioning to that.
We're talking with head coach James Perry. This is the Bryant Football Coaches Show presented by Laura's Bar and Grill. We're live at Laura's in Smithfield, just down from the Bryant University campus. Before we get back to James, just a quick recap of the 2017 season. After the last time that James and I talked last November, the Bulldogs placed 8 members on the All-Northeast Conference team. NEC Defensive Player of the Year, Tom Costigan. NEC Defensive Rookie of the Year, Andre Brackett. In addition, 2 All-New England selections, 2 All-Americans, Tom Costigan and Gene Constant. Gene, the first ever kick returner to earn All-American honors at Bryant University. And then this preseason, 6 named to the All-NEC preseason team, as well as Tom Costigan and Gene Constant preseason All-American honors. Coach, you got a lot of honors there in your first season. Obviously, that doesn't win you football games, but it's nice to have those guys on your team, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's nice. I think everybody associated with Bryant football understands that we're getting national recognition. And I think whether it's in recruiting or whether it's just, if you talk to anybody in FCS football, they know that, we're a premier program in the FCS, and that our guys are doing things nationally that deserve recognition. And for me, I think it also, in addition to national recognition, we got guys who are trying to play professionally now. Those are all steps where you want to go. If you want to be a premier program in the FCS, that's exactly what you got to do. And hopefully we can build upon that and actually materialize some of these preseason honors with, postseason honors.
Coach, you talked about being one of the premier programs in the FCS. That's nationally. Nowadays, a lot of that has to do with your facilities. And boy, oh boy, you guys are going to be playing in one heck of a stadium come Saturday. Burns Stadium underwent a facelift, started last year after you guys beat Duquesne. Finished up in May, but brand new turf, brand new lights. It's unbelievable, the sight at Burns Stadium these days, and got a chance to see the lights come on for the first time the other night. It's like turning the light on in your kitchen.
Right,
you turn it on, they're already on.
Yeah.
What is that like for you as a head coach of this program and for this university, the recognition that brings and just what it means for FCS football here at Bryant?
Well, I think, I'm focused, of course, on the game. It's going to help us play fast, right? I mean, this is a great surface. It's amazing, the field had such a huge crown that, how flat it is, how nice it looks, but it plays fast. It's a great surface that way for us, so it fits what we're trying to do. And I think everybody that's associated with Bryant University is going to be really proud of how it looks and where we've come and really the whole university. I mean, where the whole place is, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. So I know on this Saturday we'll kind of unveil it, which will be fun, and all those who can come, I think will be in store for a treat.
Bulldogs open up their 2018 season against New Haven on Saturday, a 3 o'clock kickoff at Burns Stadium. Coach, let's go through your team here, offense, defense, and then special teams. 18 starters, I think it is, back for your team this year, all across the board. Offensively, you bring back some pretty high-powered weapons. Bryce Wilson, program record, over 3,000 passing yards last year. You bring back your top 3 running backs from a year ago. You bring back 3 of your top 4 wide receivers. You bring back 4 of your 5 starting linemen. It's a lot of pieces there that you guys bring back. How much has that excited you as a guy that's on the offensive side of the ball, of being able to maybe expand what you do with some of these guys?
Sure, and it's also exciting. I know there's some marquee players in there, and we're talking about who's going to start, and we value a depth chart like everybody else. But on the flip side of a depth chart is we just play more players, so we're so much deeper. I think it's great to have returners, and I think we, hopefully some of these guys will end up, materializing incredible seasons. But equally important is we need 6 wideouts. We need 3 running backs. I mean, I would never go into a game and not play 3 running backs. We need 9 offensive linemen who are going to play, be ready to play and play. And, a year ago, it's funny because I was saying to the old linemen in the spring, the first spring there, we're going to play 9 of you, and I think they kind of thought I was joking, and it's like, no, we're going to play 9 on Saturday, so we got to have some depth there, and we're going to play 3 running backs, and you're all going to get a lot of carries, and we're going to throw to 6 different wideouts, and you're all going to catch the football, and, all of a sudden now the guys get it, and we've got all this depth. And same thing on defense. I mean, you talk about a defensive line that's probably as deep as any defensive line in the entire country. FCS-wise, you just don't get that kind of depth at the defensive line position. So we've created a lot of depth that goes along with having some, returning starters and all that stuff. That's good. But for us to have 9 D linemen ready to rock is equally important as having, Dylan Guthrow back, who's an all-league player, and that's awesome. We need him back. That'll be great to have him. But it's also great that we have more overall depth at that position too. And, from that perspective.
Coach, I guess we'll start, since we have Tom Brady behind us here on the wall. Your quarterback, Bryce Wilson, you talked earlier that he came in August last year. It was a really quick jump in, try to learn the playbook. Let's figure it out, go out there, sling it around, and now he's got a full year under his belt. What have you seen in his evolution that maybe not just from a winning football game sense, but just the pride as a former quarterback and teaching the position sense?
Sure. I think, a couple things about Bryce right away that you recognize. He has great arm talent. He can really, really throw the football. and that's just anybody. You come watch him warm up for 5 minutes. But for me as a coach, I was like, okay, this guy takes the hard coaching very well. I'm a very demanding guy, especially with that position. So, I was like, okay, he takes that very well, and he's a very physical, tough guy. He takes a hit well. So, that was on display last year. But to me, where he's made the biggest jump, and what's really rewarding, is to watch him just understand the complexity of the offense. How we read defenses. That end of it was almost an impossible task last year. You come in August, you're not going to have command of things in 3 weeks, the way that he has now. But, that development's been huge. And that's another position that we've developed depth to. We've taken a situation where we kind of went out and got a transfer to come in and play for us last year. And now we're in a whole different kind of world there. We have a lot of depth at that position, which is nice to see too.
A couple of state championships under the belt of the backup Chris Hindle, who had an outstanding high school career down at Bishop Hendricken. So we're excited to see him, the redshirt freshman, get out there and get some snaps as well. Your running game coach, you passed the ball really well last year. You ran the ball. When you ran the ball well, your team was successful last year. And with an experienced offensive line, I'm sure that you were excited about what your run game can do this year, especially with 3 guys back that are really can be outstanding running backs.
Yeah, and because we just distribute the carries, you need them.
Yep. So
for us, it's also kind of how you practice is going. You eat up a lot of reps that way when you practice fast. So this August has been fun. A lot of competition. They all want to be the starter. And then on the flip side of that, they all kind of recognize that we're gonna play them all too. So that's a position, and just like using multiple quarterbacks, I'll use multiple tailbacks too. It's not like if you can never have too many good players. So I'll put them on the field, and they're getting to that point where you can kind of start to get creative with them too. You don't have to just use a tailback in some traditional way.
Okay, all right. That's the offensive outlook. You got good? You think we covered our bases?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk defense, Coach. I think the side of the ball in which maybe has the potential to be one of the best defenses that I've seen in my 8 years here. A lot of returners, and as you said earlier, a lot of depth at really key spots. And I look at all 3 levels, D-line, linebackers, and defensive backs. You guys have a great deal of talent there that you can go 2 or 3 deep.
And really, honestly, that is the key. I think we have a guy that I believe will be a pro in Tom Costigan. I've had a number of NFL teams already through our practices, and that's important. You got to have great players on that level. But I mentioned the 9 D linemen that we're able to throw a lot of linebackers on the field too. And just that the depth of that squad going against them every day for this whole month has been fun to watch. They're an attacking group, and when the second wave of linebackers come in, and you're replacing 3 really, really good, linebackers, that next group in has played a lot of football too, and we got some hungry guys there who are playing really well too. So it creates some depth. So those, for us, we're trying to run the ball. They're trying to stop the run, especially during August, and it's a grudge match because that defensive line and those linebackers are really something else.
Kevin Lazo, Dylan Guthrow, the two of the 4 captains up front on the defensive line. Then, of course, Costigan, the All-American linebacker. But Jesse Numerowitz, a guy that last year missed the first 5 games, then came back for the final 6 and really kind of solidified that defensive unit last year. He's just seems to be in the right spot most, if not all the time, most of the time.
Right, and, it was funny because we kind of took on a little bit of a different attitude too, because he's a guy who's a real quiet guy, but he's got that, real downhill, hard-nosed football player type, and I think he helped us get over the top when it came to some of the things that we, pride ourselves on, stopping the run, things like that. So it was fun, and then, some of the guys that were able to play, Richard, and then Christian and Rob getting all of that action when he was out. Then we became a really deep linebacking core when Jesse came back, and this offseason, that competition has just continued to ramp itself up. Because Rob's really playing as well as linebackers at the FCS level will play on the outside end of it. So it'll be fun for me to watch them attack the game this Saturday. They've certainly put enough hard work in. And I think all of them, whether it's D-line, secondary, linebackers, also just have a better command of what we're trying to do. I mean, that was a lot to ask them a year ago, too.
And, Coach, one of the group that we'll finish up the defense with is the defensive backs. And the times I go out to practice, they always seem to be the group that is having the most fun. I don't know if it's because of their position coach, Coach Jackson, but they seem to have a good a collective attitude amongst themselves as defensive back safeties. They seem to kind of have that, I don't know, I can't put a word on it, but they seem to have it. And they're a fun group to watch.
Yeah, and nobody likes watching a pick more than me because I'll always get another opportunity for me to coach when they bring the pick sixes. So it's a lot of energy over there. I think Andre, showed himself to be a terrific player for us. We'll see if he can take another step this year. And that's a position where we have a lot of competition in August at. We went into August saying, okay, we're going to have a great opportunity to compete. Even new guys have a chance to compete. Guys who've played a lot of football for us, like Logie and Danny Hughes. Let's all just compete and get better on the back end. And they really embraced that. And I think the practices reflect that, the amount of plays they were able to make on the back end. And, that, I think the first-year defense, that's often the hardest to come around. So I've been very, very pleased with how they're playing, and I think they're only getting better. And
now your special teams unit coach is we get towards the end of this show. You got an all-league kicker back, Gavin Rowley, an all-league kick returner, all-American kick returner, and Gene Constant. And as you said the other day in an interview, you see special teams as always a way to score, whether that be kicking the ball or returning the ball. And you guys did both very well last year.
Oh yeah, and in Darryl Jackson, our special teams coordinator, just embraces that model that we want to score. We want to block kicks and scoop and score. We want to return kicks and score. We want to use special teams as an opportunity to increase the pace of play. And last year that was one of the aspects of the program that was consistent. Right, our special teams coordinator was able to kind of keep a lot of things consistent, and it was just nice because it was a perfect marriage for me. Here's a guy who when in the kicking game has a lot of fakes. I mean, he's introducing fakes to me. I wasn't on the job but a week, and in the kick return game, we've always been able to get the ball out and take it to the house. So the guys have been able to continue that last year, and hopefully with some of those guys back, I'll score even more. Maybe bring 3 or 4 back this year.
Coach, the kickoff is just about 4 days away. Just as we wrap up this first show of the year, just some of your final thoughts as you head into your game week as a head coach. What's on your mind?
Sure. Well, the first thing that's on my mind is, I know the players. I speak for the players because I know, just from the pulse of the locker room, we're all very appreciative of the support that we get. It's funny, even the campus is not come alive quite yet. But as we walk around, we go to the dining hall. There's a lot of people that have taken very good care of us, a lot of great food. And, I think the vibe is terrific. And for me, I know I feel good about all that support that we get from the school, the campus, community, etc., because I know these guys, how hard they're working. So I'm just excited to let it rip on Saturday. And, I hope anybody who loves good football and good collegiate FCS football that can make their way down there, because I think these kids are fun and easy to root for, and I know also it'll be just to unveil some of the stadium stuff. Will be a fun atmosphere that way. So I think you can't beat the take.
Coach Perry, thank you for joining us. This has been the.
If I could say one last thing about being here.
Yeah.
Just before you wrap it up, the only thing about for us, we started here doing some recruiting events last year at Laura's, and it has been incredible. it's just a very impressive place. I think it's awesome. I'm a Smithfield, resident, so I know, the town community loves having a great place to go and eat and hang out. And I know for us, the Bryant football, I love being a part of this, and we'll continue to introduce recruits as part of their weekend at Bryant to having a meal here at Laura's.
We'll be here every Monday night during the football season. That's the next, I believe, 12 weekends, and hopefully 13, hopefully 14 this year. Every Monday, 5 to 5:30 here at Laura's Bar and Grill in Smithfield. You can watch us live on the Bryant Athletics Facebook Live page. Coming to the game on Saturday. You don't have your tickets left. Single game tickets still on sale. BryantBulldogs.com/tickets. You can get those today. So that does it for our first show, the first Bryant football coaches show of the year. We'll be back here on Monday. If you can't make it to the game on Saturday, tune in live on necfrontrow.com, or you can listen on the radio on onradioworldwide.com. That does it for our show. Thank you for joining us here at Laura's Bar and Grill. Have a great week. We'll see you on Saturday, and if not, next Monday here in Smithfield.